first of 3 majalis that we're going to hold for the martyrdom of Imam Ali. We're going to begin today's program with the recitation of Quran by Taha Nabavi. Please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال يا إبليس ما لك ألا تكون مع الساجدين قال لم أكن لأسجد لبشر خلقته من صلصال من حماء مسنون قال فاخرج منها فإنك رجيم وإن عليك اللعنة إلى يوم الدين قال ربي فأنظرني إلى يوم يبعثون قال فإنك من المنظرين إلى يوم الوقت المعلوم قال رب بما أغويتني لأزينن لهم في الأرض ولأغوينهم أجمعين إلا عبادك منهم المخلصين قال هذا صراط علي مستقيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال أراغب أنت عن آلهتي يا إبراهيم لئن لم تنته لأرجمنك واهجرني مليا قال سلام عليك سأستغفر لك ربي إنه كان بي حفيا وأعتزلكم وما تدعون من دون الله وأدعو ربي عسى ألا أكون بدعاء ربي شقيا فلما اعتزلهم وما يعبدون من دون الله وهبنا له إسحاق ويعقوب وكلا جعلنا نبيا ووهبنا لهم من رحمتنا وجعلنا لهم لسان صدق عليا صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Thank you, Taha, for that very eloquent recitation of Quran. We will now have a recitation of poetry in English by Sara Razavi. Please welcome her with the loudest salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوات. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers, sisters, respected scholar. And first and foremost, before I begin reciting my poetry, I would like to send our condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, for the day that heaven and hell shook, as the world witnessed the day that Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam, our father, was struck. So I'll be reciting a poem in honor of a man whose words will always fall short in describing of. But before I begin, for the love of Imam Ali alayhi salam, recite the loudest of your salawats. I've told many stories, but there's one I've yet to tell. My first love story, my beginning and my end. You see, everyone falls in love at one point in their life, whether it be with their parents, child, friend, or lover. But it begins and it ends. My love story, unlike the rest, is infinite, not confined by the realms of time and space. It exceeds this universe's intricateness and warmer than a mother's embrace. My unexplainable story cannot be described in words except by this heart of mine, for it knows the tales of his love better than I do, for my heart is his shrine. So know that my love story has just begun, and it will never end. So sit down and listen as I narrate my never-ending tale. I met him before I knew myself. Before I was born, before I was taught my name, I was taught his own. In my mother's womb, I was instilled with the love of Ali in every flesh and bone, so that my heart would only beat for Ali, and my eyes would only see Ali, and that my ears only hear Ali, and my tongue would only speak of Ali, to be a true Shia of Ali in both the heavens and the earth. I met my love again after birth. Although I couldn't see him, I felt his presence, whether it be in the trees or in the water, for I am blindly in love, because all I see is Ali and nothing more. I've lost myself even in his dirt, Ya Abu Turab, for he brings me warmth, a smile, a home from a glance of his dome, for the reason for my creation is because of him. And as he moves mountains and trembles seas, I felt myself quiver before his majesty, Ya Ali. For he is my salt water, making me more thirsty. So don't question my love, my Ali, for the love of Ali has created Maytham, Kumail, and Ammar, whom are this ummah's roses. For the love of Ali parted the Ka'ba's walls, like how the sea parted for Moses. For the love of Ali is unconquerable, like how Ali broke the gates of Khaybar. For the love of Ali trembles the heavens and earth, like how it changes time. For a second in Ali's world is an eternity in all the universes combined. No wonder for everything we do, we say, Ya Ali. When waking up in the morning, we say, Ya Ali. Before any affliction, we say, Ya Ali. For the Prophet would too say, Ya Ali. And even tonight, the world is heard crying, Ya Ali. The angels have fallen from the heavens, Ya Ali. The moon has been split into two, Ya Ali, not by Muhammad, but by Ali this time, for the sight of his bleeding head exceeds all crimes. Zainab is wailing, Abbas is choking, Hassan is crying, and Hussein is broken, for my Ali has been stricken and will no longer be here. For my first love is no longer here. Does my lover know that your lover is still in need of their father? Does my lover not see the animals trying to block his way? Does my lover not know that this life is meaningless with Ali away? Does my lover not know that I've lost myself and I've lost Ali? Does my lover not see the world going mad as it self-destructs everything? Does my lover not hear his orphans calling, Ya Ali, even after this day? Does my lover not see Zainab standing by the door, resembling her mother more and more after that fateful day? Does my lover not hear the cries of his grandchildren at Karbala, seeking for his love, seeking for their Mawla, Ya Ali? Does my lover know that the separation is unbearable? Does my lover know that this pain left behind is incurable? Does my lover see the orphans, the gharib, the miskeen and needy that are all in need of their Ali? Does my lover know that his Shi'as are being killed simply because of their love to Ali? Does my lover know that I despise death, for it has taken Ali? Does my lover know that Qasim saw death sweeter than honey because of Ali? Does my lover know that it is through death that I truly heard the lions roar, never heard in battle, but only in prostration? Fustu Rabbil Kaaba, verily by the Lord of the Kaaba I have succeeded. Does my lover know how I long to be next to his shrine, next to his zarih, and call out his name, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen? Does my lover know? My lover knows, for he said that if you love me, you will have many enemies. For he said that if you love me, you will have many enemies. For he said that I am your father, but I will miss you more. I will see you, I will follow you, and still pray for you even more. For he said that it is only through death that I will meet the one, for this world is insignificant since I'm away from my Lord. For he said that I see the pain of my Ahlul Bayt. I see the pieces of liver of my Hassan. I see the severed hands of my Abbas. I see the severed head of my Hussein. I see the broken back of my Zainab. I see the pain of my children at Karbala. I see the cries of my orphans. But I'll be crying as much as they do, for I love my lovers even more than they do. So I know, Ya Ali. No wonder my first love is Ali. No wonder my first love is Ali, for I find God through him. For he was born in the best of places, in the best of days. For he was martyred in the best of months, on the best of nights, in the best of moments. So let everything be sacrificed for Ali. Let my body be severed, and let everything I own be taken away. But the one thing they can't is my love to my Mawla, Ya Ali. My love story is infinite, and it will never end. Not even after death, for my love story is present in every stage of my existence. I've met my love before birth, during life, and after death. And when I see him again, it will never be love at first glance, but love at first remembrance, for I recognized him in a realm of Ali's resemblance. No wonder death is non-existent for the lovers of Ali, for death came and sensed his fragrance within. So death knew that Ali will always be with me. For the one who knows Ali, there is no death. And even in my grave, when asked the questions from Nakir and Munkar, the only answer is, I only know Ali. Proof that this creation's existence is Alawi. Proof that this world has also fallen in love with Ali. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you, Sarah, for that very beautiful recitation of poetry. We will now have an English salam recited by Muhammad Ibrahim and Ali Ibrahim. Please welcome them with the loudest of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Salawat. Ya Ali, 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 Ya Ali. I hear the munajat of Ali from the dawning sunrise. I wonder why he weeps so much this 19th morning and cries. Why the blood-red colors in the skies this 19th morning? Why are all the birds and all the beasts restless and mourning? Why such strong winds and why trees swaying as if to break dead? It seems this day the world's to end. I shudder and clutch my head. Ya Ali, 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 Ya Ali. Mawla walks on towards the Masjid where he knows what's to come. I hear him ask repentance and patience in a deep hum. I know not why, but I want to try to stop him going. But he smiles at me and tells me his fate is waiting. Sorrow overcomes me as he steps inside the masjid. The trees and beasts all weep with me from all around and surround. Ya Ali, 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 Ya Ali. Mola wakes Muljim up, who hides a poisoned sword beneath him. Think you not Ali knows not who is to slash at and kill him? Ali listens to his last adhan and gets up to lead, and the angels start to weep as Ali prepares to bleed. Muljim comes from hide and strikes the head of Ali in sajda, and I collapse as Ali shouts, Pusto be Rabbil Kaaba. Ya Ali, 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 Ya Ali. I pass an orphan weeping who has seen my kindly father. I pass a widow weeping, I have lost my kindly helper. I pass a leper weeping, where is gone my kindly nurser? I pass a beggar weeping, where is my kindly feeder? Then I pass by Mola Ali's home, and weeping I see Ya Ali, the Father, Helper, Nurser, Divine Mercy. Ya Ali, 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 Ya Ali. Salawat.
صل على محمد. Thank you for that recitation. Thank you for that recitation of poetry. It was very beautiful. I would now like to welcome Hujjat al-Islam Sayyid Sulayman Hassan for the speech. Please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين المبعوث رحمة للعالمين شفيع المذنبين وحبيب قلوب الصادقين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Tonight will be the 19th of the month of Ramadan, and that is the night of the martyrdom of our first Imam, the heir and successor of our Prophet, and the one who established not just a just government for a few years, that is a role model and an example for humanity, but who established the principles that will continue to define what is the true teaching of Islam until it is brought to a culmination and a completion by the grandson of Imam Ali, the heir and the final successor of our Prophet, the Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Imam Ali, he established not just a limited example that we read about and learn about from history, but a living example through implementing the teachings of the Prophet, which will be the basis for the triumph of Islam, which is the triumph of light over darkness, justice over injustice. And when you see so much suffering and so much oppression and so much injustice in the world, then you see even more what is our need to show our loyalty and obedience and attachment to Ahlul Bayt and to Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam in particular. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Because everywhere you turn, whether in your own neighborhood or throughout the world, there are examples of unspeakable crimes and injustices. Sometimes enough to make a person lose hope and wonder if there is ever going to be a way out of the darkness. But if you see that oppression, the proper response is not to ignore it because it causes you pain or it causes you difficulty. Some people, they block it out. They ignore it. They say, there's nothing that I can do, and so what benefit is there for me to think about and to sadden myself with the sight or the thought of how much evil there is and how much suffering there is. That is not the proper response. The proper response is to realize that this is a test that Allah has given humanity and He has given us. But there is illumination in spite of all of that darkness. There is a way out that Allah has shown us, and that is to attach ourselves to the message and to the values, to the practice and to the mission of the progeny of our Prophet, Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, because they continue the teachings and the commandments of our Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi himself. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. And on this night, when we remember the martyrdom of Imam Ali, it is also the night of Qadr, or we can say the first of 3 nights of Qadr. And that is not a coincidence, because there is a very intimate connection between Imam Ali and the Quran. He was the only person among those who were with the Prophet who had a complete mastery of the Quran. He had not just written the Quran in its entirety along with commentary, not just memorized the Quran in terms of its text, but he was the one who knew, as he said himself, every verse of the Quran. When was it revealed? About whom was it revealed? Why was it revealed? And what is the message of the Quran? And how does it apply to different circumstances in human life beyond the specific case when it was revealed? So Imam Ali, he was the Quran in practice, and not just in recitation and memorization and writing and in the superficial understanding of the text or the words of the Quran. And that is why it is narrated from our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Ya Ali, أنت تقاتل على التأويل كما قاتلت أنا على التنزيل. Oh Ali, you will be struggling and fighting to establish the ta'wil of the Quran, just as I struggled and fought to establish the revelation of the Quran. Tanzil means the actual words and text that was revealed by God. This was the struggle of our Prophet, to bring to humanity this miraculous and beautiful text, about which Imam Ali alayhi salam says that Al-Quran ظاهره أنيق وباطنه عميق. The outward text of the Quran is filled with elegance, eloquence, and beauty. وَبَاطِنُهُ عَمِيقٌ. And the meaning and the essence and the reality of this Quran is very profound and deep. It is not just poetry, which can sometimes have very fancy words and sound very captivating, but it has that outward beauty because it has an almost unimaginable depth. The more you think and the more that you contemplate the book, the more you will realize that it is impossible to understand in its entirety, and we can only begin to gain benefit through our contemplation and through our humility and our repeated approach to the Quran. This was Tanzil, the text of the Quran, which is aniq and elegant and beautiful and eloquent. For our Prophet to be able to convey this text took that lifetime of struggle and sacrifice. But then when the Prophet had given the text, it was not just meant to be recited and kept in our presence in our homes and in our cars for protection or blessings. It was meant to be implemented. And that implementation of the Quran is what is referred to as ta'wil. Ta'wil comes from awl, which means return. And every text it returns to the reality that it describes. So if I say something, then I might describe an experience I had using words. Just to give a simple example, if I go to a very beautiful site where there is a majestic view that Allah has created, mountains, valleys, rivers, flowers with different colors and a very intricate scene, and I observe it and I experience it, I smell the fragrance of those flowers, I see their beauty, and I am taken away by the wondrous creation of Allah. Then I come back and I tell you about it. Now, I will tell you about what I have seen with words. But even as I use the most accurate words that I can imagine, and maybe I've even taken pictures and I will show you the pictures, what is it that I will say? That I don't know how to describe it. You had to be there to experience it. These words, they are incomplete. So the incompleteness of the words, in my case, is because my language skills may be limited. In the case of Allah, it is not that He lacks the ability to convey, but human language itself lacks the ability to fully vocalize the meaning that the Quran is going to convey. And if I will not be able to convey in words just a simple, beautiful scene from nature, then imagine the Quran, which is not just describing nature on this world, but it is describing the nature of the soul and the nature of God's purpose for humanity, a message which is deeper and greater than our existence or than anything that we can see around us in the world. Human language will not be able to convey it. The tanzeel is simply the words in Arabic in the Quran that you and I read and recite, which tells us and points us in the direction of that deeper reality. But then ta'weel is what that text returns to. In the example I gave, tanzeel would be compared to my description of that indescribable scene of beauty. And ta'weel would be for you to go and to experience and to observe those things that cannot be conveyed in words. Not because of the weakness of the skill of the one who is speaking, because the one speaking is Allah, but because of the limitation of the language and because of the limitation of the understanding of the audience to whom Allah is speaking. And so Allah, He revealed that text to our Prophet to be recited, but to point us to a reality that this text guides us to. And that was the ta'weel which the life of Imam Ali was spent in conveying and establishing, so that humanity will be able to get the benefit of the recitation and the revelation of the Quran. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So there is a connection between the Quran and Imam Ali. One is in human form, one is in written form, but it is not an exaggeration to say that there is one reality. And if you take the Quran and you were to put it in human form, then it would be the words and the character and the life of Imam Ali. And if you were to take the life of Imam Ali and you were to put it in fact, all of Ahlul Bayt, from our Prophet to each of our Imams, and you were to put it in text, then it would be the Quran. So to understand the teachings of Imam Ali, I want to look today and inshallah on Sunday briefly at some of the stages of the life of Imam Ali, particularly those that we don't always think about and speak about. We know Imam Ali largely just from 2 chapters in his life. One chapter is the chapter of what he did for Islam and for the Muslims and for the Prophet in Medina. After the Hijrah, or we can say from the moment of Hijrah until the death of the Prophet, that phase, it is filled with challenges and struggles and battles. And Imam Ali was the hero of many different episodes in that chapter. And generally we discuss the battle of Badr, the battle of Uhud, the battle of Ahzab, the battle of Khaybar, the conquest of Mecca, Hijjatul Wada. So this is all one chapter, which is the life of the Prophet and Imam Ali after the migration to Medina up until the death of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. And then the other chapter that we think about and speak about and know about is the chapter when Imam Ali was the outward ruler of the Muslim world. He was the Imam from the moment that our Prophet appointed him until his death, without any intervening caliph or imam who had authority over Imam Ali. He was the direct successor of the Prophet. But outwardly, he did not rule the Muslim world until almost 25 years after the death of our Prophet. And it is in that period when Imam Ali, he had once again many different struggles and battles, the battle of Jamal, then the battle of Siffin, then the battle of Nahrawan, then the effort to try to put an end to the corruption and the evil of Muawiyah, although the people of Kufa did not respond well. So there were preparations for opposition to Muawiyah and ending that corruption, that fitna, even if it was not able to be accomplished because of the lack of support from the people of Kufa, whom Imam Ali was calling and motivating to stand up for the truth. So this is another chapter in the life of Imam Ali that we know a great deal about and we talk about. But among the chapters that we speak less about, one is the chapter of Imam Ali's youth, before the migration to Medina. And this composes of two parts. One is before our Prophet Muhammad was appointed as a prophet in Bi'tha, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And one is the early years of the Prophet's call in Mecca before the Hijrah, when Imam Ali, he was from the age of 10 until the age of 23, what we would call childhood and adolescence and young adulthood. So this is a very important stage in the life of Imam Ali, and it has lessons for us. And we will also see that not only does it have a lesson for us in the life of Imam Ali, but Imam Ali, he gave a very big importance to this stage of a person's life. And he has guidance for us and instruction for us about what to do when we are young. And this is a message for those of us who are young, or for those of us who may be parents or grandparents, and we have young people that we are responsible for their upbringing and for raising them with the values of Islam. So let us look at this stage of the life of Imam Ali and the teachings that he has for youth, either if we will apply them in our own life or if we will apply them in the way that we raise our children and the young members of our family and our community. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now, Imam Ali's courage and heroism did not begin with the battles that were fought in the battlefield in Medina. It actually began from a much earlier stage, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, when Imam Ali was still a child in Mecca. And we find in history that as long as Abu Talib alayhi salam was alive, the people who opposed the Prophet, they did not have the courage to come out openly and to harm our Prophet, because there was a fear and there was an awe of Abu Talib. He was the leader and the respected elder of Quraysh. And because of his piety, because of his character, because of his generosity, because he was the son of Abdul Muttalib, his charisma, his character, it caused people to hold him in esteem and respect. So in the time of Abu Talib's life, yes, our Prophet was opposed. Our Prophet was sometimes mocked, but there was a little bit of a hesitation on the part of the Prophet's worst enemies from coming out very openly out of the fear or the respect of the Prophet's guardian and uncle and his father figure, Abu Talib. So what did they do? They went and they told the young children of Quraysh that you go and you follow the Prophet wherever he goes and throw stones at him and try to cause him injury and make noise and make a commotion and distract people and insult him and make it so that nobody is able to listen to the Prophet. This was a strategy and not a coincidence, that wherever the Prophet would go in the Masjid praying, and now a group of children, they would not come of their own accord, but it would be Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl and Abu Sufyan and Walid ibn al-Mughira and those people who had an animosity to the Prophet. They would send the children to go and attack the Prophet. And for Abu Talib, it was against his position and his dignity, and also his kindness to go and now to fight with those children, many of whom may have been young. Many of them, they were not even baligh. So it would not be fitting, due to the dignity of Abu Talib and due to his position, but also because for an old person to come and to scold children when their parents are not scolding them and taking care of them, but rather are encouraging them to do evil, it would seem to be unkind. And so Abu Talib would send his own son, Imam Ali, at that time, who was maybe the same age or younger than those other children. And you can imagine that there is a group of people who are being encouraged to insult the Prophet, to attack the Prophet, to try to distract people from listening to him. And on the other side, it is just one person, Imam Ali, as a young boy. And he would defend the Prophet and he would chase them away. According to narrations that we find from Ahlul Bayt, they gave him a title, Qadim, which is a sharp sword, a sharp blade. Because even though he was alone and they were many, he would attack them with such courage that they would run away. And if somebody did something that would injure the Prophet, then Imam Ali would stand up and chase those other children away. Sometimes they would go home to their parents crying, and they would say that we could not face Imam Ali even if we were numerous. So this was the courage that Imam Ali exhibited in his youth. And this courage came to him through the example he had from Abu Talib. In Shahe Abi Talib, it is said that in the night, every night, when our Prophet had laid down to rest and all of the other members of Banu Hashim had also gone to sleep, Abu Talib would be awake and he would stand guard. And then he would come to the Prophet and he would say that I fear maybe somebody is spying on us and has seen that you laid down and are sleeping in this tent. So now come, before anybody can see, and let me take you surreptitiously, quietly to some other tent. And then he would bring his own son, Imam Ali, and said, you sleep in this tent so people can know that there is somebody here and they will think it is the Prophet. If there is going to be an attack, then Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi will be safe. Salawat ala Muhammad wa alayhi. So this was the way that Abu Talib raised his son. This was the courage that Imam Ali acquired, and he breathed from the Prophet, from Abu Talib, from his childhood. And it was the way in which he grew up with a sense of obligation to defend and to protect Islam. And if you see his courage in the battlefield, and if you see his courage in the period of his imamat, then it was just a continuation of that valor and that bravery which he showed already in childhood. And in Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Ali, he describes his childhood. He says that I grew up with the company and the guidance of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He would feed me from his own food, and he would keep me close so that I would smell the fragrance of his body, and I would observe him in his worship and in his prayer. One of the lessons that we should learn, and maybe some of us as parents, we make this mistake, is that when we are busy and when we are serious, we lock ourselves in a separate room and we do our work and we think that our children are a distraction. But the practice we learn from Ahlul Bayt, and first from Prophet Muhammad with Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, is that your children are also serious business. They are not a distraction. And so when you are worshiping, when you are working for the sake of Allah, when you are even taking care of your worldly affairs, keep them close. Don't isolate them and don't isolate yourself. And if that means that you will not recite as many du'as because your children, they have their own curiosity or games that they want to play, then stay with them and engage with them, because you are passing on a series of values and not just trying to impress Allah with your dua or with your Quran or with your salat or with your worship. And this was the practice of our Imams afterwards as well. Imam Ali describes that close relationship. He says that the Prophet raised me and guided me. وَمَا وَجَدَ لِي كَذْبَةً فِي قَوْلٍ وَلَا خَطْلَةً فِي فِعْلٍ. The Prophet never saw a lie in my lips or a sin in my actions. This was why our Prophet loved Imam Ali so much, because not only was it the most worthy teacher that Imam Ali was given, but it was the most worthy student that our Prophet was given. And so Imam Ali, from that very moment, he was raised to be the very self and the continuation of the person of our Prophet after his time and after his death. And Imam Ali, he says that I observed the way that Allah trained his Prophet and prepared him for prophethood. وَلَقَدْ قَرَنَ اللَّهُ بِهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ مِنْ لَدُنْ أَنْ كَانَ فَطِيمًا أَعْظَمَ مَلَكٍ مِنْ مَلَائِكَتِهِ. Imam Ali says in Nahj al-Balagha that from the time our Prophet was an infant, not when he was 40 years of age, not when he went to Ghar Hira, not when he heard that first revelation, Iqra' bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, but from when our Prophet was an infant himself. قَرَنَ اللَّهُ بِهِ مِنْ لَدُنْ أَنْ كَانَ فَطِيمًا أَعْظَمَ مَلَكٍ مِنْ مَلَائِكَتِهِ. Allah sent the greatest of his angels to be with our Prophet. يَسْلُكُ بِهِ طَرِيقَ الْمَكَارِمِ. He would guide the Prophet on the road of makarim, the best akhlaq. This was not just the nature of the Prophet. Sometimes people say the Prophet was an orphan, and so he had a sensitive soul, and he was very sympathetic to those who were suffering. Yes, the Prophet was an orphan, alam yajidka yatima, and he had a very sensitive soul, but it was not just his human nature that made him the Prophet. It was that Allah gave the greatest of His angels to the Prophet as a guide, a trainer, a teacher from the moment that our Prophet was an infant. وَمَحَاسِنَ الْأَخْلَاقِ لَيْلَهُ وَنَهَارَهُ. And that angel was with the Prophet in the night and in the daytime. 24/7, as we say. It wasn't just a certain period of his day when the Prophet would get instruction, but throughout his existence. And what does this have to do with Imam Ali? Our Prophet was trained by that greatest of divine angels to ready him to be a prophet. And Imam Ali was trained in the same way by a teacher who is greater than the greatest angel, and that is our Prophet himself, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wa alihi. The Imam continues in the same sermon, وَلَقَدْ كُنْتُ أَتَّبِعُهُ اتِّبَاعَ الْفَصِيلِ أَثَرَ أُمِّهِ. I would follow the Prophet as a baby camel follows the footsteps of its mother, staying always in the shadow of the Prophet. And this is another lesson for our adults and for our youth. We live in a culture that idealizes youth and sometimes looks down on those who are older. Says that their time has passed. They don't have all that expertise sometimes with technology because they learned some of those technologies in adulthood or after their schooling, so maybe they aren't as fluent unless that is their specialty or that field. Sometimes youth have this idea that our elders, what do they know about the way the world works today? What do they know about the economy of today or the economy of the future or the culture? But the reality is that the value system we learn in Islam is that you value the guidance that you receive from your elders. There is a unique experience that Imam Ali had because his teacher was not just a parent or a guardian or a scholar, but it was our Prophet himself. But the value system that we get from Imam Ali is not exclusive to that relationship between him and the Prophet. It is a lesson and a guidance for ourselves. Don't look down upon your elders and your parents, your grandparents, your teachers, your scholars, those people who are going to instruct you in your culture and in your values and in your religion. Value them and stay close to them. So when you have a question, ask. When you have a difficulty in life, don't go online and find out what people are saying on Reddit or on TikTok and what other people are trying to figure out. But go to those people who have insight and have wisdom and have lived a portion of their life in line with the teachings and the values that come from Allah. Don't be embarrassed, and don't think that ChatGPT is going to give you just as good an answer, because that is just something artificial. It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have a mind. It doesn't have a connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that comes from worship and from purification. So keep yourself close to the sources of guidance that will be of benefit to you in your religious life and in your material life. And Imam Ali, he describes that relationship. لَقَدْ كُنْتُ أَتَّبِعُهُ اتِّبَاعَ الْفَصِيلِ أَثَرَ أُمِّهِ. I was just like a baby camel with the Prophet. Now, in our case, we don't have that direct access to our Prophet's person, but we do have access to his teachings. We do have access to the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. And we are blessed that we have so many pious people in our communities, in our families, in our communities, of worshiping and sincere believers and scholars, so we have access to the character and the teachings of the Prophet through them, even if we don't have direct access to the Prophet himself. What are we to look for? If you are looking for guidance and instruction for your children, what kind of schooling, what kind of instruction? Or if you are a young person and you are thinking about whom to associate with and whom you should befriend, this is what Imam Ali describes as the basis of the relationship with the Prophet. This is Imam Ali as a young boy, before the age of 10, and then after when the Prophet was appointed as a prophet. Normally, what do we think? We want people who share our interests. We can spend time together. We can joke with, who share our sense of humor. If I like scary stories, then I will find somebody who also enjoys scary movies. If I like science fiction, then I will have a friendship with people who have the same interest in fiction or the same interest in sports or games, or maybe people who live in my neighborhood and just happen to be in my circle of friends, or the children of my parents' friends. But as long as you are able to choose your friendships, then choose friends on the basis of what I am going to describe from the words of Imam Ali, which was the basis of his relationship with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He says, يَرْفَعُ لِي فِي كُلِّ يَوْمٍ مِّنْ أَخْلَاقِهِ عَلَمًا. Every day the Prophet would raise a flag, a banner of his akhlaq. So find people who are a mentor and a role model and associate yourself with them so you learn and you become better, and you don't just go based on your own experiences or your limited knowledge. Then, وَيَأْمُرُنِي بِالْإِقْتِدَاءِ بِهِ. The Prophet would give me this guidance, and then the Prophet would say, follow this, and do this, and practice this. So I not only have the knowledge. Today, many of our youth, because they have a smartphone and they have the internet at their fingertips, you know a whole lot of basic facts and trivia. But don't fool yourself into thinking that that is knowledge. And even more, don't fool yourself into thinking that that is wisdom. But first, the Prophet would give that alam, which is a flagpole, a banner, and then يَأْمُرُنِي بِالْإِقْتِدَاءِ بِهِ. Put it into practice. Apply it. Then it becomes part of your character, and then wisdom grows from that experience of learning and knowing and then practicing. وَلَقَدْ كَانَ يُجَاوِرُ فِي كُلِّ سَنَةٍ بِحِرَاءٍ فَأَرَاهُ وَلَا يَرَاهُ غَيْرِ. The Prophet, he would worship in Hira every year, and Imam Ali would be with the Prophet in that worship. And this was also the practice of Ahlul Bayt, that when you worship, bring your family and bring your children to be with you. They should hear your prayers. They should know what motivates you and what brings you to tears and what you consider to be the purpose of your life, because that is going to be your legacy. And that is going to be what connects you to your family, not just in this life, but in your eternal life in the hereafter. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And this is just to recognize the honor of that initial household that was established by the Prophet, from which the entire light of Islam spread through the world. Our Prophet always honored his wife Khadija, salamullahi alayha, so long as he lived. And after the Prophet, in his sermons, Imam Ali also honored Khadija alayha salam, because she was like a mother to him, but also she was the mother to all Muslims. and the one whose sacrifice and whose devotion allowed Islam to thrive and to flourish. The Imam continues in the same sermon. He says that there was not a single household that practiced Islam at that time غير رسول الله وخديجة وأنا ثالثهما. The only people who practiced Islam in the early days were Prophet Muhammad and Lady Khadija, and I was the third of them. This was the youth of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And that brings us to today. We live in a time where corruption and sin and indecency is in every corner. In our homes and outside of our homes, in our stores and our malls and our places of entertainment, even in our schools and our places of work. Wherever you go, there is sin, there is corruption, there is unbelief. But it is not worse than at the time of the Prophet's first calling to Islam. It is not worse than the time when Imam Ali was a young boy. Mecca was filled with idols. It was filled with an evil society that outwardly oppressed the slaves, the hungry, the needy, the poor. There was no dignity for those who did not have a powerful tribal protector or a great deal of wealth. And if one household, just our Prophet and Khadija and Imam Ali, 3 people and no one else, can maintain their faith and establish a religion whose light spreads to every corner of the world, then I should not lose hope. Because if I grasp on to their guidance, then I too can be surrounded by unbelief and by sin. But I can protect myself and we can protect our families if our Prophet and Imam Ali and Lady Khadija alayhi salam, they showed us the path. Then all we need to do is to grab on to their example and live by their values, and that will give us the same protection and the same guidance in our time. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And even in his old age and in his final moments, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he had that same devotion to guiding and to instructing people on the path of truth. It is said that it was in these nights, towards the end of the month of Ramadan, when Imam Ali in the night would look towards the heavens and he would say that, "Oh Allah, there is a promise that you made to me, which was conveyed to me by my beloved Prophet, that I will achieve martyrdom. I feel as if that time is approaching, and oh Allah, hasten for me the fulfillment of that promise which you made." Because Imam Ali yearns for martyrdom, just as the Prophet yearns to be reunited with his beloved brother Imam Ali. But there is the family of Imam Ali. When they would hear him speak of martyrdom, they would not be able to control their own grief and their own tears. They would say, "Oh our Father, oh our Imam, may Allah grant you a long life. May we never see you be injured or you be martyred." How can Imam Ali prepare Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, Zainab and Kulthum, to be separated from their source of solace and guidance and protection? It is said that in that final month of Ramadan, Imam Ali, he would break his fast in the evening with one of his children, just so that he could share some guidance and some memories with them and prepare them for the tragedy that was going to come. Imam Ali spent that final night in the house of his daughter Kulthum. Her daughter has invited her father for iftar, but she knows that her father will only eat a simple food. She brings milk and she brings salt and she brings bread, and Imam Ali says that, oh my daughter, you know that I would never combine two foods in one meal. Take away one of these foods. And Imam Ali had no more than a few bites. Kulthum said that, oh my father, why is it that you are not eating? And here Imam Ali prepares his daughter for this martyrdom. He says that, oh my daughter, I want to meet my Lord when my stomach is not full of worldly food. This was a hint that his martyrdom is near. Maybe this is why it is said that in the dawn of that night, Kulthum said that, oh my father, send somebody else to lead the prayer. Stay in my home where you are safe, where you are in front of my eyes, and let somebody else lead the prayer in the masjid. Imam Ali, he said that what is the decree of Allah cannot be changed or altered. He went, and as he left the house, even the birds that were in the vicinity of the house, they began to call out, and Imam Ali said, leave them, let them speak, because they are giving that advanced news of my martyrdom. Imam Ali went to the masjid, and the heart of Kulthum was not at ease until she saw that there was a voice that rose up and a commotion that came, and before long she saw that Imam Ali is coming back towards her home, but now he is not walking on his own feet. He is leaning against Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. He has been struck by that poisoned sword of Ibn Muljam. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. O Allah, accept this remembrance on our behalf and guide us to always follow in the footsteps and to obey the guidance and the teachings of Imam Ali and Ahlul Bayt during these nights of Qadr. Make us among those who are close to our Imam, close to the Quran, so that we will be with them in the hereafter. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Ya Hassan, Ya Hassan, Ya Hassan, Ya Hassan. Ali, 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 Ali. The strike of the sword has killed Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. The night of 19th Ramadan, awaiting the Fajr Adhan. The land is quiet and calm, but crying for my Imam. Ali, 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 Ali. He leaves his daughter's home towards the Masjid's dome. She weeps, "Father, don't go," and her tears begin to flow. The strike of the sword has killed Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. Entering the mosque that night with Ibn Muljim inside, my Mawla knew the time has come for the evil to be done. Ali, 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 Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. Ali. Mawla said, "O cursed man, arise and do the bad you can. I am not afraid of your deed, by my Lord I succeed. The strike of the sword has killed Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. Ali, Ali, Ali. Ali, Ali, Ali. When Haidar's head was in sujood, Jibreel descended reciting the road, knowing the blood of Ali would be shed. Ya Ali, Ali, the angel said, Ali, 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 Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. Ali, Ali, Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. With full force when the poisoned sword split Ali's head, oh my Lord, the heavens and the earth cried aloud, angels weeping their heads bowed. Ali, 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 Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. Ali, Ali, Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. The Lion of Allah lay wounded in pain, calls my sons Hassan, Abbas and Hussein. Lift my body and take me away. For children, this is Allah's way. The strike of the sword has killed Ali. Ali, 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 Ali. Ali, Ali, Ali. Ali, 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 Ali.
Taqabbalallah. It's almost time for Salatul Maghrib wal Isha. Today we will do the congregational prayer a little bit differently because we have a larger number of people who are going to be joining us. It is one of the nights of Qadr and also